This is the Barbados Today afternoon news for Wednesday, May 31st. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. The local private sector is demanding clarity on a number of areas in this year's budget, which was presented by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair on Tuesday. At the same time, the business community is warning of far-reaching negative impact on Barbadians as a result of the measures announced. They say the cost of living will rise and there will also be job losses. Among the measures is an increase in the National Social Responsibility Levy from 2 to 10% and a 2% tax on all foreign exchange transactions. President of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Charles Herbert, says the business community disagrees with the measures, adding that government should focus instead on cutting spending rather than raising taxes. And President of the Barbados Bankers Association, Donna Wellington, describes the budget as short-term pain with no long-term gain.
One of the things that was interesting to me, at least, was that none of the revenue measures were time-bound. They should have been. If we're going to have a 2% tax on foreign exchange, how long is that going to be for? There have been other measures in budgets past that were time-bound, and this one should have. We should at least have had some sense of that.
Meanwhile, Chair of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Roseanne Mayers, wants clarity on the 2% tax to be implemented on foreign exchange transactions. She says the tax could impact negatively on small and medium-sized businesses in the tourism sector. Mayers added that there were some concessions included.
It basically took note of the fact that we are in a difficult situation from a tourism perspective. We have fought gallantly, but even when you look today, Theresa May's, Prime Minister Theresa May's lead seems to have narrowed, and that has caused a further drop in the pound. So we are in a very fluid situation with respect to tourism, and there was an attempt to recognize that and therefore not change the 7.5 VAT rate, which I do believe that the social partnership in the working group said that that should be protected. So it's not fair to say that there was an across-the-board attempt to raise the tourism VAT. There was certainly an understanding that this would not be the time to look at putting direct costs on the tourism sector.
And President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Eddie Abed, believes the measure could drive more businesses underground. Meanwhile, economist Winston Moore says the increase in tax on gas and diesel could be seen as promoting a green economy, but he raised some concerns.
We've always talked about Barbados being a green economy, and this really doesn't help that goal in any way, because if you're switching the purchase of vehicles towards these very large vehicles that we see very all around the world, that's not really a benefit in terms of pushing Barbados towards a green economy. You're still dependent on fossil fuels. What we should have seen is maybe across-the-board tax based on CO2 emissions. And if you're taxing based on CO2 emissions, then that might encourage people to maybe purchase hybrid vehicles and electric vehicles and maybe smaller vehicles rather than these large 4x4s that we see on the road at the moment.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Good morning, Phillips & Company, may I help? Oh, certainly. One moment, please. Miss Phillips?
Yeah?
There's a lady on the line from the Nation newspaper who would like to speak with you.
The Nation? Will she go on?
Well, they're trying to sell us some ads.
Look, don't make me laugh this morning. Ads in the Nation? They're real expensive, and for one year, nobody ain't buying them papers no more. Nobody ain't want to steal news. I hear reading Barbados Today online for free. So I tell she thanks for calling, but no thanks. We just advertising Barbados Today, families. Tell she is Barbados Today all the way.
Okay, I'll pass on the message. Ma'am, are you still there? Oh, she put down.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back now with news from the region. Several former heads of state and government in Latin and Central America are calling on Caribbean leaders to openly condemn the ongoing political unrest in Venezuela. In an open letter to Caribbean leaders, the former heads say they want to publicly condemn the flagrant and escalating repression by the dictatorial and military government of Nicolas Maduro in Caracas. Earlier this month, CARICOM foreign ministers called for non-interference in the internal affairs of that country. Several people have been killed in street demonstrations aimed at forcing the Maduro government out of office. And finally, at least 80 people were killed and hundreds injured when a car bomb exploded in the Afghan capital Kabul this morning. We get the details in this report from Reuters.
A huge explosion in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. The powerful car bomb sending black smoke billowing into the sky above the presidential palace and foreign embassies. Initial reports claiming at least 80 people are dead and hundreds injured. Amongst the scenes of chaos, the wounded were piled into vehicles and raced to the city's hospitals. Reuters correspondent Josh Smith is there.
Kind of a chaotic scene because they're bringing a lot of bodies in and people are trying to identify them. A few of the walking wounded, we talked to them. They were able to leave at this point, but we still don't have a full idea of the full number of casualties.
A Kabul police spokesman says the blast was centred near the German embassy, but the exact target isn't clear.
It's a very high security area. However, there are also major roads that go through there. And so coming as it did kind of at morning rush hour, there would have been a lot of people on the streets at that time when it went off.
The explosion shattered windows and blew doors off their hinges in buildings hundreds of metres away. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the bomb. However, violence has been rising in Afghanistan throughout the year.
That's news this afternoon. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can find us on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We're also on Mix 96.9 FM if you're looking for more news. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good afternoon.